Everybody, welcome to another episode of Jolly SEO's TLDR. And today we have Peter Shankman. I don't think you need much of an intro, Peter, but Peter was the founder of Help a Reporter Out. And today, let's say more importantly, more recently, the founder of Source of Sources. Peter, thank you so much for taking the time, and I'd love it if you intro yourself.
Sure. What can I tell you? Oh God, where does one even begin with this? I'm a born and raised New York City theater kid, went to high school of performing arts, went to Boston University, graduate school out in Santa Barbara with 18 credits left, lost my financial aid. The government sent me a letter that said, your parents make too much money. We're taking away your financial aid. I sent the government back a letter that said, my parents do make too much money. They keep it. Government didn't find that funny. Moved back to New York, was hanging out in a chat room on AOL, focused on Melrose Place, the TV show, when someone in that chat room said, hey, my company's trying to build a newsroom. Why don't you submit your resume? I said, sure, I have no experience. That'll be perfect. I learned that sarcasm doesn't translate well online. And I was hired as one of the founding editors of the newsroom at America Online back when AOL was the internet in the early 90s, mid 90s. Worked there for several years, had a blast at AOL, came back to New York in the very late 90s, right at the height of the start of the dot-com boom, launched my own PR firm called the Geek Factory. Built it to about 20 employees. We repped Napster, Juno, AOL, all the big ones during the dot-com boom. Saw the writing on the wall, sold the agency, tried to take a year off, went to Asia, was hanging out in Tokyo or Phuket, I don't remember. I was in Phuket, and I flew back to Tokyo, and I was supposed to connect to Hong Kong, and I called my mother, and I said, I just want to let you know I'm coming home. She goes, it's been 2 weeks. I'm like, you never taught me how to relax. And I slammed down the phone. And I came home and started consulting, was doing a lot of speaking, a lot of traveling. That led like business traveling. That led to my just talking to everyone. I was undiagnosed ADHD at the time. That led to a giant Rolodex, which led to reporters calling me and saying, hey, I'm doing a story on whatever. Who do you know? That led to Help a Reporter. Help a Reporter was acquired by Vocus, now Cision. Cision ran into the ground. When I saw the writing on that wall, I decided that I should probably restart it and make it good again. And so I launched Source of Sources, or SOS. And SOS is now 30,000 members and growing. We are quickly becoming the number one free source repository on the internet again. When HARO shuts down fully on December 9th, we will be the largest free repository on the internet. So yeah, it's one of those things where it's like it's one of those things where you never know what you're going to wind up doing, but everything's fun, so just keep doing it.
I gotta get, if you still remember, any must-see Phuket spots. We're headed to Phuket in January over Chinese New Year.
So I haven't been in several years, but I remember that there is when I was there, it was a Sheraton. I don't know what the hotel is now, but it's the corner of the island. So it literally goes around the
Runs
corner of the
around.
island, and it's just stunning, right into a lagoon. It was a beautiful hotel. I don't know what hotel it is now. I don't think it's Sheraton anymore, but it was a Sheraton Phuket. It was gorgeous. So figure out what the Sheraton Phuket is now and stay there.
All right, I'll do my research. I recently quoted you in a backlink article. I always talk up Help Reporter, but now Source of Sources when I'm on, like at a talk. But I was curious of your take on this. I guess I hadn't processed it, but there are people grieving the loss of Connectively. It's like the final, like Haro really is dead, but it's not because you are launching Source of Sources. But I guess still, just any emotional connection to that chapter's done, or have you moved on long
You
time
know,
ago?
look, at the end of the day, it's really nice when something you build continues to live, but a lot of founders who have built their own companies and sold them have either bought them back or relaunched something similar because the magic is gone. The company that acquires you usually doesn't have that same passion. And my passion for HARO and now Source of Sources is to help people. I enjoy helping people. It gives me it's a high for me. And when you try to turn it into a moneymaker or whatever only, then it doesn't work that well. And so for me, building Source of Sources is really sort of the logical next step. Am I bummed that HARO, would I have liked Cision to come over to me and say, hey, we're going to shut this down. Do you want to buy it back? I would have said in
Yeah,
a heartbeat, I would have said yes. I would have said yes.
revive the
The
brand.
problem, though, however, the problem is that over the past several years, Cision has turned HARO into a steaming pile of shit.
Yeah.
And, look, again, it happens. Cision got acquired by private equity. Nothing good comes out of being acquired by private equity. Red Lobster got acquired by private equity and went bankrupt. They didn't go bankrupt because of a lack of shrimp. They went bankrupt because they were acquired by private equity, and private equity screws everything up. So, you know, I'm always reminded in 1992, during the Leno Letterman wars, right? I don't know if you're old enough to remember this, but
I
Leno.
just barely. I am. Thank you very
Okay,
much. Just
so
barely.
Letterman wanted Johnny Carson's Tonight Show, and
Yes.
NBC screwed him and gave it to Leno. They didn't think Letterman's humor would play at 11:30. Leno wound up being terrible at hosting, but really was not good. And Letterman was consistent, went over to CBS, or was on the ledge, was consistently kicking Leno's butt. And NBC reached back out to Letterman and said, "We're probably gonna get rid of Leno. Do you want this show?" And Letterman went to his mentor. I don't remember the guy's name, but he was Johnny Carson's executive producer, and said, "What do I do?" And the executive producer said, "What do you want to do?" He said, "I want that show." And the executive producer said, Johnny's show is gone.
Yeah.
It's now used goods.
Yeah.
It's Leno's show, and you're going to be second rate." He said, "You go to CBS and do your own thing." And he did. He went to CBS and launched his own show, the David Letterman Show, or Late Night with David Letterman, and became this huge success. And that's how I feel. If I took HARO back right now, it wouldn't be the help reporter that Peter Shankman started. It'd be the help reporter that Cision ran into the ground. And I'd rather start it from scratch.
Okay, so speaking of running into the ground, this maintaining this thing for two parties, the experts and the journalists, is a really tough balancing act. But I want to focus on the publishers with a question here. What, because you have more insight into this than anyone I know, aside from each individual publisher, what do they care more about? Do they care more about rigorous vetting of the contributor to make sure it's not a fake persona in 2024 that we live in? Or is it quality of content to make sure it's not AI generated content? Again,
No, it is definitely, I mean, it's definitely both. The concept of not of actually being a real person. We're getting, what's really nice is that media outlets are realizing that I'm running this again. And
yeah,
they're coming, journalists, media outlets that would never have used HARO in the past 10 years because they realized it was going to crap have
yeah,
come back. We've had the Associated Press, we've had the New York Times, we've had the Wall Street Journal, we've had the New York Post, major outlets that are coming back to SOS because they know that, to quote a 90s show again, homie, don't play that. I am
yeah.
not, you screw up, you use AI, you generate AI, you send fake pitches, whatever, you're gone. I literally have, and here's the thing, my kid is in school and is in a rehearsal for a play, and she's like in rehearsal so like 5:30 every day. I used to have to pick her up at like 2:45. Now she's in rehearsal at 5. That gives me two and a half
You got
hours
time.
to do nothing but figure out the IP address of the person who sent the email to the reporter and ban their. There are SEO companies in the Philippines
Yeah,
and in India right now whose entire IP
yeah,
addresses are banned. They cannot send out queries from source of sources. Here's the thing, and I say this to you because you run SEO. I have no problem with you using source of sources to create good backlinks. Don't be a dick about it.
yeah,
That's it.
yeah,
Do it in a way that helps the reporter. And if they happen to give you a backlink, great, everyone wins. Don't go in there with some AI generated crap, hoping they'll link back to a website about Chinese food that you made up just to be able to, you know,
What? But I'm
kiss
in
the Empire
China.
Flipper
I'm in
guy's
China,
ass.
Peter. I know. Yeah. No, that's every time I talk to people and I have a tiny course on this, I just say treat the other person as if they're a real human. These journalists aren't putting these queries
Journalists are doing
in.
5 times more with 10 times less,
Yeah.
right? They don't have time for your bullshit. And it's
Yeah.
really that simple. And it's funny because I brought up the Chinese food thing because I first guy who used SOS with fake AI and to try to promote a site that was simply designed so he could sell it and flip it. I went to my friends at Empire Flippers. I said, I want to know who this guy is. And 2 seconds later, they're like, oh, yeah, it's this guy. And I sent him an email. I'm like, okay, here's the thing. You can either tell me you use SOS anymore, or I'm going to out you. And when I out you, it's going to be miserable. You know the thing that says all press is good press? I'm about to prove to you
No
that's not
shit.
true.
Yeah.
So
No shit.
here's your option. And he apologized. I'm so sorry. I'll never use you again. And he's gone. Right. So what have I got to lose? Right. I'm a 52-year-old single dad who could probably stand to drop. The only thing I can stand to lose is 20 pounds. Right.
Yeah.
Mess with me at your peril.
What if this is an idea I haven't shared with anyone, so someone steal my business idea here. But I failed at doing like a SaaS version of this. But the thing I think we were missing for the publishers is a figurehead vetting service. So just the briefest of like background checks, because I think LinkedIn is one of the only places on the internet I'm aware of where it is very hard for a fake person to survive. They kill fake persona profiles very,
They do, but they don't.
You've
They
spotted
do,
some
but
in
they
the
don't.
wild
I
surviving?
found so many in the wild, yeah, and especially now with AI, it's going to be a cat and mouse game. They kill one, AI produces five more.
Yeah.
What I think is going to happen is that there's going to be less. I've seen this actually when reporters get a pitch with a LinkedIn and not a phone number or a contact or email, whatever, just a LinkedIn, they automatically disregard it because there's chances are if they're sending you a LinkedIn, here's my pitch and here's my LinkedIn profile, not here's my email or here's my phone number. Um, it red flags go up right away.
That's very educational. So you feel like the phone number has a crucial place in this.
Oh, of
Is
course,
there,
absolutely, 100%.
there's many a journalist that says, I need to interview on the phone, but the interview is only 2 minutes. It's just verifying that this is a real person.
Exactly. And that's fine too. Let there be some sort of verification because at the end of the day, it's not my job to get the verification, it's the reporter's job.
Yes.
Right? All I'm doing is the conduit, right? So the reporter still has the opportunity and the responsibility to create that verification. And I remember when I was running HARO, there was a guy who used it and got like 54 different quotes in newspapers and he made them all up. None of them were real. He wasn't an expert in anything. And he wound up writing a book about it.
Yeah, yeah, that comedian, right?
No, it wasn't a comedian. It was I always thought he was a clown, but no, he's written a bunch of books. He started his career
Oh,
under you know who I'm talking
the
about. Yeah.
something lying, right?
Trust me, I'm lying. Yeah. Ryan
Yeah.
Holiday. That was his
There
name.
you go.
Yeah, not my favorite person.
Let's plug
But
him.
but no, but here's the thing. At the end of the day, he blacklisted himself,
Yeah.
right? Who the hell's gonna trust him now? So I just need you to play nice, right? These are your kindergarten rules, man.
Yeah.
Just play nice.
This is another clip from my course. This guy on YouTube in an interview laughing about having a VA blast GPT created pitches out to every query every day, laughing that he's probably blacklisted himself. And I'm like, I don't know. Like you said, elementary school rules, but like how immature, like why would you wish that upon
Well,
yourself?
it's the same reason people spam, right? You get one, it costs you nothing to do 1,000. You get one, you win. But there's a higher failure rate here, and there's a higher damage rate if you become the person who is known for being full of it.
Yeah.
That's gonna stay with you forever.
We're representing real brands, our clientele, and like the amount of friction we have in our own little sales process. And we just can't help everyone with this situation because it's a real concern, but like we need to commit to responsibly representing this person in the media.
Yeah,
That's part of the
and I
game.
think at the end of the day, it'd be great if everyone did it, but yeah, there's always gonna be outliers. So the key is just to squash them. They're like New York City cockroaches. They'll always be
Yeah.
there, but you can kill them.
What do you feel comfortable about sharing with us, like future plans, quote unquote roadmap for early 2025 or further?
One of the great things I'm doing now that I didn't really do with HARO is I'm doing a lot of joint ventures. For instance, Muckrack and I put together a
I
JV so that
noticed that.
every time anyone who submits a query can include their Muckrack profile, which immediately gives the source the understanding that here's who the journalist is and here's what they're about and they're worth writing to. That's number one. I'm also working to get a press release distribution system, a discounted press release distribution system up, either partnering with one of the big guys. That's number two.
An outreach partner, a
Well,
discounted.
it's funny. I don't know if I'm looking for outreach per se because I don't want. Here's the thing. I don't want to become another distribution channel, right?
There's a conflict of interest there, I think, to some
Well, that's not
extent.
what HARO's about, and that's not what SOS is about. It's not about the
Yeah.
premise. My job isn't to. You're not using SOS to go after reporters with your own stories. You're using SOS to help them with the stories they're already doing. And if there's a
Yes.
match, great.
Yeah.
So that's a benefit there, and that's what I'm trying to keep
Awesome.
happening.
Yeah. No, I think those partnerships make so much sense. Muckrack, PR,
Yep.
Newswire kind of partnership. I just want to be cognizant of our time. I always like to end an interview with, what did I forget to ask? What are you thinking? Like, why didn't he ask that?
I think the one thing I'd say is that as the speed of technology increases, one of the things that goes away is the trust factor, right?
Yeah.
I just heard the story about someone who answered their phone and it was their mother
Yeah,
saying,
exactly.
you've seen it,
How can you hate
I'm
it?
stuck, I need $500, whatever." But it wasn't, it was AI. And
You've got a
so
teenage daughter. I've got kids. Like
exactly,
it's just getting,
exactly. We have a safe word. There's if ever we get a
yeah,
call like that and the safe word isn't said, it's fake. Knowing that we have to do that, the concept of trust becomes even stronger. And I've been keynoting on this for 10 years now. I've been always saying the next 50 years of the economy is going to be run by the customer experience. I
Mm,
don't need to trust if your restaurant is good because you told me.
yeah.
That's the equivalent of my going to a bar and going up to a woman and saying, I'm great in bed, you should come home with me. She's not going to do that. She's going to throw a drink in my face. But if her best friend's sitting there going, oh, wow, that's Peter Shankman. I've heard he's amazing. You should go talk to him. At the very least, I'm getting her number, right? So the premise is that you want.
Yeah,
I
great.
talk,
Great with her in the background.
yeah.
Yeah.
But the key is that you want to create an environment of trust. And you do that by pitching on topic, and you do that by pitching correctly, and you do that by
Yes.
helping the reporter. And then that reporter says, you know what? I have a story. Let me call Peter. Let me call Mark. I've used them before and I trust them. It's all about
Yeah.
trust. It always has been.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Peter. Thank you very much for your time. Really, really
My
appreciate
pleasure.
everything you're doing at the platform. I'll keep shouting it out. It's just a great resource. Everyone should sign up. It's totally free.
Appreciate you. Definitely.